2 sessions, China's annual political event. We are broadcasting live in 5G from the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. I am John Goodrich.
I'm Serena Dong. So in just a few minutes, we will be expecting ministers from various ministries taking questions from the press. You can see over there, all the press are already lined up and waiting for all the ministers.
Yeah, as you can tell by the hustle and bustle of people running around, that is going to be imminent.
Yes. So, but before that, do you want to talk a little bit about the opening ceremony of the CPPCC?
Yeah, so we just saw Wang Yang, the chairman of the CPPCC, give his opening the session, and a few things stood out for you, I think, Serena.
Yeah, I think people were still mainly focusing on topics like poverty alleviation, education reforms, and including tax policies.
Yeah.
What stood out for you, John?
Well, we have a copy of the speech here, and we heard some of the buzzwords that we're going to be hearing a lot of over the next 18 months. First of all, the 3 critical battles against risk, poverty and pollution. And we'll hear from the Minister of Environment later, so that will be particularly interesting over the next half hour or so. But also poverty is really an important thing for China.
Yep.
With next year coming up, the goal of eradicating absolute poverty by 2020.
And again, I want to mention this real quick because this year marks the 70th anniversary of the CPPCC. And for the following 10 days, we will be live streaming to you with our 5G network. Yeah,
this is a very special moment because we're broadcasting for the first time at CGTN in 5G. So it's very, very significant for the future. Right now, it's a kind of a precursor to what we can all expect in our lives over the next 18 months when it gets rolled out commercially. 5G is going to mean all sorts of changes. It's going to make the Internet of Things more of a reality. It's going to mean faster download speeds and high resolution pictures for all of us once it gets rolled out.
And as you can see, all the press are running back us, to line up for the ministers' corridors. Let's just pass our microphone to our colleagues Ding and Nathan King. They will bring you more about the ministers' corridor.
Serena, thank you very much. Thank you.
Whatever talk about.
Hi guys.
Hi.
I'm really excited here because I'm the foreigner, so I'm normally based in Washington, D.C.
Well, to be honest, I'm a local Beijinger, but for the great haunt of people, I'm not in the frequent visitor yet.
But, I'm used to going to press conferences at the White House and stuff like that, which are a little chaotic as of late. What have we got going on here? This is called the Ministers'
Corridor, yes.
Yeah. So what's going on?
It's an interesting name, the Ministers' Corridor. Hi, this is Ding Yang from CGTN Digital, and this is my colleague Nathan King from CGTN's Washington office. And about the Ministers' Corridor, you can think of it as a mini press conference, where the ministers will be invited by the organizers of the CPPCC to hear and being asked a few tough questions.
So it's a bit like a stakeout. We call them stakeouts in the US and across Europe, where ministers will come to a microphone and there'll be people to ask. So, I read the report. Obviously, a lot of domestic stuff going on.
Yes.
Who are we going to hear from? Do you know?
I got a list of names, and the ministers that are going to come to today's. I can read this out. From the Ministry of Ecology and Environment, the National Cultural Heritage Administration, Ministry of Veteran Affairs, and the National Healthcare Security Administrations, and China International Development Cooperation Agency, and the Civil Aviation Administration of China. But because the minister corridor is always follows the big meeting, and the press office of the CPPCC and later the NPC will invite the ministers to come over. Exactly, it's all of the reporters over there. The place is busy, and the press office will invite the ministers to come over, but they need to check it with the ministers' agenda. So there's always possible a last-minute change to the ministers who will come over. But I think now the whole thing is.
Can we move over here? We'll show you
a little bit. Yeah, just show what happened up here.
Also, remember, we're on a 5G network. You can actually see our network over here, the 5G sign. The first time we're broadcasting live with a 5G network.
Yeah, that is another beauty today. We've been talking about 5G all the time. It's been on the international headlines, but what is exactly 5G? Now you can see there's the one representative of 5G technology over there, that box, that white box over there, and it's wired to another tiny device up there. I don't know how close we can zoom in, but try to catch up that tiny white thing.
There is one comment from online, which
Over
is
there.
very interesting.
But I think now the minister has arrived. Maybe now is the time for us to cut to the minister to listen to what the reporters want to ask them and what their answers are.
Well, thanks for inviting me along. It's really amazing that we're part of this network, part of this broadcast.
I guess for the future, we have for the next week, for the next few days, we have a lot of business here to do. So
and follow us, of course, because we're going to be bringing you more from the Great Hall of the
on all CGTN's social media platforms, please, and stay tuned to CGTN television, of course.
TV, phone, watch. Thank you. We'll get drunk. Do you have mind-bending drugs? What's it mean?
102个月的民航安全运行记录，实现了7000万小时的飞行安全记录，这个水平处于世界先进国家之列。当然，民航安全风险无处不在，我们始终坚持风险意识。在民航的发展中，大家知道现在。 每天我们天上飞着16000多架航班架次，那么对民航工作来讲，守住安全底线，首先就是这16000多航班架次万无一失。这对我们来讲是挑战，是压力，但是也是我们工作的动力。所以我们始终坚持以零容忍的态度对待安全隐患，以零期待的心态对待每天的工作。 确保每个航班万无一失，使我们民航安全工作平稳可控，同时也严厉打击和查处违反民航安全操作规章、违反民航安全工作条例规定的违法违纪行为，确保民航安全。在服务品质方面，应该讲这是我们民航工作的本质。在民航服务中。
We are working with the meticulous spirit so that we can control safety. In the meantime, we are cracking down on those illegal behaviors that pose a threat to safety of aviation. In terms of service quality, I think this is very important. In terms of aviation service, we embrace the concept that development is for the people. So in all aspects, we try to demonstrate our service quality. And the first very important indicator of that service is the punctuality of our flights. And over the past year, I think each and every one of you have felt that we are improving in punctuality, and the reliability rate last year in general has reached 81.2%, and this is due to our very meticulous work. We have been following scientific standards, and we have been managing airports and aviation in a scientific manner, and we have also been improving our service methodology. And in a process of this very important work, we are collaborating with all stakeholders, and we are also working closely together with the Air Force of the PLA, and we have been constantly improving the service quality of ours since 2016. For 4 consecutive years, we have a quality-themed campaign. Each and every year, we have a new target, we have new methodologies and new measures. For example, last year, we have been piloting this paperless check-in for passengers. We are popularizing Wi-Fi service on the aircraft. We are also standardizing the ticket return service, and we are also standardizing the service quality of food at airports. You can see and feel the result is very obvious. And to share with you some data, today's day we have already 12 airliners with a total of more than 300 airplanes who can support Wi-Fi. And in terms of paperless check-in, last year in total we have 225 million passengers who are checking in without the paper boarding gates. And in the new year, we will continue to improve these services. One, we're going to continue to guarantee that the punctuality rate is above 85%. And secondly, we are going to introduce 9 measures to improve our service. Number one, we are going to further promote the paperless travel for passengers. Last year, the paperless travel rate is 37%, and this year it's expected to reach more than 70%. And we are also going to promote the self-service rate at the airport, which means that our passengers can self-check-in, can go to security check by themselves, and also by boarding the gate by themselves. And in addition to that, we are going to explore a new model of security check at the airport. We are going to adopt a differentiated security check methodology. In doing so, we hope to reduce the time of security check. And also, we want to put in place 24/7 surveillance for our luggages, which means that when you checked in your luggage and also at the point of claiming your luggage, you will be able to know where your luggage is. And we are also going to increase the Wi-Fi coverage in aviation. And we hope that more devices will be supported with our Wi-Fi in the future. And also, very importantly, we want to have the same standard of service for all the food and restaurant at airports, and we hope to have your supervision in this regard. And we are also going to improve our service for passengers transferring between different airlines, and we are going to make sure that passengers don't need to claim their luggage while transferring flights. Apart from that, we are also going to offer electronic tickets for cargoes. And we're also going to introduce this hotline of 12306. Some of the passengers are complaining that when they encounter some problem, when they call the hotline, a lot of the times they are not given a feedback. And I think this will be changed in the new year. Starting from March the 15th, we are going to activate the hotline of 12306. If any passenger has any problem not receiving the feedback, then you can dial this number, and our colleagues at the CAAC, they will see to it that your answer and your problems can be solved. I think this is a gradual process. As we are going more global and internationalized, we face various different types of demands, and we understand that we are falling behind, and there is the gap. But we have confidence that with the support of all the passengers, we will be able to usher into a new chapter of safe travel and high-quality travel, and each and every passenger will share the dividend of China's reform. And may I remind you about the second part of the question is about Daxing International Airport. The Daxing International Airport is a hot topic online, and the Daxing International Airport is going to serve the coordinated development of Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei region, and it's also going to serve the Xun'an New area, and it has won a great deal of attention from the CPC Central Committee, and President Xi Jinping paid a visit to this airport in 2017, and he has put forward specific requirements for this airport.
Ever since construction started, all the staff have been remembering our mission, and we have ensured high-quality construction work, and we will also provide quality service in operation. Regarding the objective of this airport, we have 2 milestones. First, on June 30th, this international airport will be completed. Before September 30th, the Daxing International Airport will start operation. Currently, the majority of its construction work has been finished. Now we are having the interior refurbishment and all the trials of equipments. And as for the equipments and facilities, we have run calibration and tests. With support from Beijing municipal government, we finished the work 19 days in advance. Now we can confirm that the facilities and equipments of Daxing International Airport are up to the standard. As with operation target, Daxing International Airport is a transportation hub, and it will have competition with the Beijing Capital International Airport in 2022. This Daxing Airport will deliver 45 million tourists, and by 2025, 72 million tourists. To this end, we are already working on the plans and flight rides, arrangement plans. All the work are carried out in an orderly manner. I believe that the Daxing International Airport will be operated safely and orderly. Another comment, Daxing International Airport is up to modern standards in the new era. We will have a 4-star airport that is safe, green, smart, and human caring. It will be people-centered and will leverage the comparative advantages of civil aviation. And there will be an integrated transportation system with 0 gaps. I believe that when you visit the new international airport, you will have new experience at the 4-star airport. Thank you, Mr. Feng. Okay, the next minister. Minister Sun Shaocheng from the Ministry of Veteran Affairs. Okay, the floor is open now. Thank you. The rule of law is an important guarantee for power. My question is, for the past 1 year, what policies and measures have you enacted to ensure the legitimate rights and interests of veterans? And second, for the draft law, when will it be delivered to the MPC? The Ministry of Veteran Affairs was instituted last year during the restructuring of the State Council. According to arrangements from the central government and instruction from the president, our top priority is to have an efficient operation mechanism. And to have a legislative mechanism is an important guarantee for our operation and normal work. So legislative work is an important part of our day-to-day work. And we will have a long-term view in drafting the law on veterans. On the other hand, we are focusing on current affairs and problems left from the past. Regarding the arrangement of veterans and their preferential treatments, their re-employment, and the care for them, we have 12 related policy documents. After enacting those documents, we've had press briefings to introduce them. And I would also like to thank friends from the media for your work on delivering related news. We'll have 17 policy documents and 11 laws and regulations. And the most important one is a law on ensuring the preferential treatments to veterans. Ever since last April, we've been having fact-finding trips and drafts and comment-seeking procedures with relevant authorities under the State Council. Now, we have basically reached a consensus on the draft and are preparing to submit the draft to the NPC. If everything go as planned, in the next half of this year, it will reach the NPC. And a set of supporting regulations are also underway. It is our plan to finish them by end of this year. When all of them have been promulgated, we'll have a complete legal system to protect the legitimate rights and interests of veterans. Okay, more questions? Thank you. I'm from Hubei Daily. I work on the report of veteran affairs, so I have two questions. First, in our reports, we noted that China's veteran service system still has many inadequacies. So what is your view on this? Second, would you please introduce China's veteran affair system? As with our veteran affairs system, generally speaking, there are three parts. First, government authorities. That is the Ministry of Veteran Affairs and the provincial departments and other units affiliated to the ministries and departments and hospitals and recreational facilities, etc. And also the civil society groups, volunteer groups, etc. With efforts from all those stakeholders, we can deliver a good job on veteran affairs. Currently, we are still instituting the whole system, so there are still many inadequacies. For the provincial and municipal level authorities, they are instituting the system. Well, for county level and lower level authorities, they haven't finished the related work. We have already established a National Center for Veteran Affairs, and by May this year, provincial centers will also be set up. We have been carrying out studies on mobilizing social forces in veteran affairs. Establishing the National Center on Veteran Affairs is in line with requirements from the central government and instructions from President Xi Jinping. We'll have such service centers at 6 levels and also service stations at villages. So it means an all-encompassing system for veterans. All those units will have funding and staff and everything guaranteed. And we're doing this to provide better service to veterans. Okay, thank you, Minister Sun. The next minister. Okay, an old friend. Each year, on March the 3rd, Minister Liu Yuzhu from the National Cultural Heritage Administration will come to this hallway to answer questions. Nice to meet you again, Minister Liu.
Good afternoon. I'm with Science Daily. It has become a habit for people to go to museums, and parents, they take their kids to museums on the weekends. But all these museums, they are like one another, and they are very crowded. And what is your comment on this? Thank you. Thank you very much for your question. As you might know, now it's a time for museums to grow very quickly, but it's also growing with some problems. On the one hand, we have enormous social demand. Over the past 3 years, each and every year, we are having roughly 100 million people visiting museums, and last year the number was 418 million visitors. So the number keeps growing year by year. On the other hand, museums are also growing very rapidly. Each and every year, we are adding roughly 180 museums to the total volume. By the end of 2017, according to some statistics, we have roughly 5,136 museums registered at different levels. So the incremental volume is just huge. In recent years, in particular during the Spring Festival, museums across China are very crowded. And this is well reported by a lot of media. This year's Spring Festival, according to some statistics, within 7 days, we have 150 million visitors to museums, and more than 40% of them, we have roughly 150 million travelers during the Spring Festival, and 40% of them have been to a museum in the just finished Spring Festival. In the process of its development, we have witnessed a demand of high-end culture from the public. The demand is also becoming more and more diverse. So our service at the museum is falling short in meeting this vast social demand. So we have a lot of work to do, a lot of jobs to do in the future. So this year, we will focus on the functional positionings of different museums, and in particular, we are going to fill in the gaps. We're going to focus on the most difficult points, and we're going to solve some bottleneck issues. In this year, we will work with relevant departments to jointly formulate implementing measures on promoting the sound development of museums so that we can gradually meet the demands from the public. Here on this occasion, I would also like to emphasize that museums, the one very important organization representing cultural relics, and in particular those ancient architectural museums. And for those type of museums, protection is of paramount importance, and in these aspects, we can never slacken our efforts in protecting the cultural relics and ancient buildings. In the meantime, museum is also a very important platform for public cultural education. It's not like a temple fair. It's not like any entertainment place out there on the market. Museum should be a place where we demonstrate the high-end culture of the society. Museum should be a high-end culture, but it should not be quite difficult to understand. It should be a positive image instead of a ordinary image or a vulgar image, like some of the entertainment places out there on the market. So we have to stick closely to this bottom line. And on this occasion, I would like to thank our friends from the media for following the developments of China's museums and also for reporting our efforts. Thank you very much. We have a question from the internet. Last year, the central government has issued a guideline or a decision for protection of cultural relics, but they are wondering whether these measures can be translated into practice. Is there a feedback from you? Thank you. Thank you very much for our friend from the internet. Since the 18th National Congress of the Communist Party, the central government is attaching great importance to the protection of cultural relics. President Xi Jinping himself has made a lot of guidelines and comments regarding the preservation and protection of cultural relics. Last year, the General Office of the Central Committee of the CPC and also the General Office of State Council have jointly issued a decision or working opinions regarding the protection of cultural relics. These two documents, they attest to the importance paid by the central government to cultural relic protection. This is the top-level design and top-level policy. And to translate that policy into practice, I think it's the task facing all the practitioners in the cultural relic sector. First and foremost, we need to attach great importance to this aspect. We have to mobilize energies from all sectors. We have identified 57 reform measures in 16 categories from the working opinion. In last October, the Culture Ministry and Tourism Ministry and other 36 top-level departments have held seminars regarding the implementation of this working opinion, and we are making tremendous progress. I would like to thank relevant departments at the central level for working closely together with us. And secondly, to translate that top-level policy into practice, we have to solve the last-mile issue. The success or failure or the effect of a policy hinges upon the last mile. Over the past few years, CPC committees at various levels and governments at different levels attach great importance to the development and protection of cultural relics. By the end of last year, we have already 18 government departments from various levels, which have formulated implementing opinions regarding this very important working opinion. And already we have 25 municipalities introducing or releasing regulations and policies to implement this working opinion. I think this is very important in solving the last mile issue. I want to put a few additional remarks. In the institutional reform last year, the provincial level of cultural relic departments, they have strengthened their efforts in general, and I would like to thank our decision makers at various levels, and thank you very much for your understanding and support. But we have a tendency or a trend right now, and at the municipal level and also at the county level, our institution is kind of weakened. So here, I would like to ask our mayors and county heads to step up your efforts in accordance with the realities of your localities. I would like to see more support from the municipal and county levels. And I hope that when you are making decisions,
you can render more support in the last mile and lay a solid foundation, because for implementation of a certain policy, the last mile is of critical importance. So please, mayors and secretaries of counties and cities, please give us more support. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Liu. Okay, the next minister. Minister Hu Jinglin from the National Healthcare Security Administration. Thank you, Mr. Hu. Okay, the floor is open now. Mr. Hu, I noted that the people are very concerned about the new progress of cancer treatment drugs. The government has made it clear that more good drugs will be included into the list, the national list. So what new measures do you have to launch these national policies and measures? Thank you for your question. According to decisions and arrangements from the State Council and the central government, last year we began the negotiation on cancer drugs. 17 cancer drugs have been included into the national list with a price reduction of 56.7%, and this is the first step. And for the patients, it's very important for them to enjoy those cancer drugs as soon as possible. We have done our job in two aspects. First, the tariff of the drugs won't be included into the previous healthcare funding. Second, healthcare authorities have mentioned that the use of cancer drugs should be ensured, and we can see smooth progress. By end of 2018, in around 1 month, 45,000 people reimbursed 260 million RMB in their expenses. This year in Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangdong province, the number of people was 12,000, and they reimbursed 100 million RMB in their expenses. So according to those statistics, we are having satisfactory progress. This year, the government has made it clear that more life-saving drugs should be included into the national list, and we are doing everything possible to ensure that this objective is met. First, we need to reform the management of the catalog, the national list. We need to have a dynamic management system. At the same time, we need to kickstart the 2019 readjustment work of the catalog. It is expected to be finished by September because a large number of drugs are involved. And the readjustment of the catalog shall take into consideration the bearing capacity of the healthcare fund and clinical needs. To be specific, we need to ensure the basic needs and prioritize the key drugs, cancer drugs, and rare disease drugs. And drugs for chronic diseases and keys. Those are what the people care most about. And for this catalog, our experts have examined the old catalog, and they have decided that some drugs shall be removed from the catalog list. Generally speaking, we are optimizing the structure of the catalog so that more life-saving drugs can enter the catalog, and the burden of inaccessibility and unaffordability could be eased. Thank you. Another question. A complaint. In some hospitals, there are phenomena of frauding. People are cheating for healthcare funds. Are there any effective measures to deal with this situation? Thank you. Frauding is quite severe and very commonly seen. Last year, at a program of CCTV, they broadcast a case of Shenyang, and we were shocked by the case. According to arrangements from the central government, last September, we started campaigns to crack down on such frauds. And this campaign is to change the current situation that the management of the healthcare fund is too loose. And we would like to have accountability systems in place to deal with frauds, and we can have penalties to incompliance. After several months of campaign, we have penalized 66,000 incompliant medical agencies, and 1,284 have been removed from our cooperator list. Some of them have also been sent to the public security agency. Related staff have also been blacklisted or sent to public security agencies. As with areas or agencies where frauds happen, quite often we see a nosedive in the number, in the amount of money reimbursed and the number of people that ask for reimbursement. We are still faced with a daunting task, and we should continue our efforts and put into place strong measures. This year, the crackdown on frauds shall be the top priority in healthcare work. We have 6 measures.
First, we are going to step up our efforts in cracking down on frauding. Second, we're going to strengthen our inspection. We're going to have random inspections, and we're going to improve the rate of inspection. We're also going to improve exposure, and we're going to encourage the reporting mechanism. We hope that the public can be part of these very important efforts. And also we're going to use the latest technology, and in particular the big data and technology. We are also going to use third parties and strengthen internal supervision. For fraudulence within the system, we are going to have this zero tolerance policy, and they will be put into punishments. And we are going to guarantee the safety of health care fund so that it will not be abused. Thank you very much. Our next minister, please. Mr. Wang Xiaotao, Director of China's International Development and Cooperation Bureau. I was sent a WeChat message just now that a lot of the people on our WeChat accounts, they are complaining about the lack of opportunity. Good afternoon, Director General. What is your comments on China's international cooperation looking forward? And can you also give us an introduction of your organization? Thank you. Dear friends from the media, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to meet you here. Last year, we engaged in institutional reforms. The China International Development and Cooperation Agency was set up. We were established on April the 18th last year, and this is a major institutional decision that the Chinese government has made following the guideline of President Xi Jinping. This is a major institutional reform. This is also a milestone in the history of China's international assistance, and it marks that China's overseas assistance has now entered into a new chapter. And over the past year, under the leadership of the CPC Central Committee, we have been building up ourselves, we have been running, and we have also been improving our efforts. We follow the correct guidelines and concepts and values, and we aim at providing reasonable and vast assistance to developing countries. We have been stepping up our efforts in coordination and reform. We have been improving our overall efficiency. We also strengthened supervision and engaged in international exchanges. Our works at various fronts have had a very good beginning. In the new era, we have new demands and new challenges. At our organization, we need to shoulder up new responsibilities, and we will follow the diplomatic thoughts of President Xi Jinping, and we will follow the fine traditions of foreign assistance, and we will demonstrate the sympathy and apathy of the Chinese people, and we will demonstrate the Chinese image in holding out a helping hand when our friends are in need. We will also work together with international organizations and with our partners in the world. We will implement and achieve the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, and we will make our contributions to the building of a shared future for all mankind. In the future, we will, in the meantime, we will remain mindful that China is a developing country. There is a huge development gap between rural and the countryside. We have also a very daunting task in developing ourselves. So that is why we have been emphasizing that China's foreign assistance is still categorized in the South-to-South cooperation framework. We will make foreign assistance according to our own strength and our own reality. And this is a very important principle that we follow. We will be very meticulous. We will spend every penny very wisely. Thank you very much. Our next minister, please. Minister Li Ganjie from the Ministry of Ecology and Environment. Now the floor is open. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm from China Central Television. Over the past year, people feel that there are more blue sky days, but occasionally we may have a smog day. And so may I know your comments on our efforts last year regarding fighting pollution, and what are the new measures that you have for the new year? Thank you very much for your question. I would like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to our friends at the media who have been long following and supporting and participating and contributing to our efforts in fighting against pollution. The fight against pollution is a major decision made by the central government. Since we launched this campaign a year ago, different social walks have been following the Xi Jinping thoughts, and we have been following the arrangements at the central government, and we are committed of winning this very important battle against the pollution. And in general, we have registered a very good beginning, and the ecological and environmental parameters have been constantly improving. And in 2018, the PM 2.5 average has dropped by 9.3%. In Beijing, PM 2.5 decreased by 12.1%. And this is a great result that we have gained on a basis of a 20.5% decrease against 2017. In terms of water, we are also witnessing water quality increase. in general, ecological preservation is registering very sound results. In the meantime, we have met the requirements and targets that we set for the 13th five-year plan. And beyond any doubt, there is a lot of improvement and progress. To some extent, from some perspective, it tells us that we have been following the right track and path, and so that's why we are very confident about winning this battle. And but in the meantime, we must be mindful that this battle is very daunting, and we have a lot of challenges, and a lot of them are very big ones. The current situation is not quite optimistic. I would say it's rather challenging, and you see these days in Beijing, we still have some smog, and it tells how difficult it is to win this battle as a organization committed to this very important campaign, and we feel enormous pressure, and we are never slacking our efforts in a battle against the pollution. And for our next step, our general consideration, our general plan is to earnestly implement what President Xi Jinping said in the Central Economic Conference, where he said that we have to consolidate our achievements. We can't walk a return journey, and we cannot slack our efforts. We have to grasp with these very important targets in an unswerving manner, and we have to further continue with our efforts. And for our plan this year, we have to fight against 4 negative mindsets. We can never slacken our efforts. We have to be persistent. We have to be shouldering up these very important responsibilities. And we have to have 5 persistencies. We have to be persistent in implementing President Xi Jinping's thoughts. We have to be persistent in implementing the work arrangement of the Central Economic Conference, and we have to be persistent in winning this battle, and we have to be persistent in modernizing the institution, and we have to be persistent in enhancing the capacity of our organization. And there is also 6 musts in our plan this year.
As with the deployments on the fight against pollution, those are our measures and our attitudes. First, we shall make progress on the basis of stable progress, and we need to make our best efforts according to our strengths. Second, for our work, we need to pursue a good environmental effect and good socioeconomic effects, and strive to realize a reduction in pollution, environmental improvement, improved structuring, and also the ease of social conflicts and the stability of the society. And thirdly, we need to have a comprehensive set of measures, legislative ones and market economy policies, approaches. In particular, we should have law-based approaches. Fourth, we should work on both the macro and the micro level. We should have top-level designs and the law enforcement efforts. Fifth, we need to pursue progress on the general agenda and have important breakthroughs. And don't force uniformity on all fronts. Last, we need to deal with problems left from the past and create an enabling environment for future development. And we need to avoid frauds and image work, so as to ensure that environmental improvement is of concrete nature. And we need to fight 7 battles to have blue sky and in the quality improvement of the water of Yangtze River and many other rivers and lakes, and also the battle on rural pollution. All those are to ensure that we can win the confidence of the people. Okay, another question. Last year, you mentioned that the establishment of the ministry will be beneficial for 5 aspects. And people are very concerned about the 5 aspects you mentioned. What are the progress? Yeah, last year on the press briefing at the 2 sessions, I mentioned that the plan of the new ministry has built 5 bridges over surface and underground, land and ocean, urban and rural areas, in between carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, etc. For the past year, we've been working with related authorities, and we have been researching on our reform work. We have been very active in reforming our institute, the staff, and detailed specific work so as to realize synergy. It is fair to say that in the last year we have reached objectives for our reform with good effects, with both physical and chemical effects. And we have concrete progress made. We have reached progress in terms of the transfer of staff, etc., with 7 ministerial authorities as scheduled. Second, we have been working according to the reform plan of State Council ministries, and this plan was released to the public, so I won't go into detail. And as with chemical effects, chemical reactions, we optimized the forces in our system. And we identified agencies that would spearhead certain campaigns, and we see concrete results in this regard. This has also facilitated the efficient, effective, and orderly advance of our work. Let me give you an example. In oceans, lakes, rivers, environmental protection has one common feature. That is, the problem is in the water, but actually the root cause is on the shore, is on the ground. For all diseases, we need to cure their root causes. And to improve water quality, we started campaigns on improving the quality of water in Yangtze River and Bohai. And we stepped up the supervision on the outlets of wastewater of companies and have 4 aspects of work. We track down the pollution sources and have been working with good progress in all those aspects. To be frank, without this institutional reform, the Ministry of Environment didn't take care of the water bodies, then those campaigns would come across difficulties because responsibilities of all those rivers or oceans are dispersed among different ministries. So the establishment of the Ministry of Ecology and Environment is a smart choice from the State Council and the Central Party Committee. And the overlap of responsibilities between ministries has been resolved. And this has also helped us in doing a good job on fighting against pollution. Going forward, we'll continue to work with related authorities and on the basis of doing a good job within our system, we'll actively provide guidance to provincial level and grassroots level authorities so as to render more dividends to the people and give them a stronger sense of gain. Okay, another question, a very simple one. During the 2 sessions, do you have a press briefing? Just now, I saw over 20 journalists that are still interested in posing questions. Currently, in the afternoon, at 3 o'clock on March 11th, I have a press briefing, and I'll be glad to take your questions then. Thank you. Thank you, Minister Li.